So how can the government get, I guess, first part, what should the visa wait times be? And how can the government get back to those wait times?
Well, I think that, for tourist visas and F1 visas, but especially the tourist visas, the wait time shouldn't be any more than like a week, at most a week, maybe 48. Back when, even when I was in the State Department, some places had 48-hour wait times for visa interviews. And the reality is that's what it should be. I think that the things that we would need to do, the State Department just aren't willing to do. Right? We need to look at doing remote interviews, for example. Why everybody and their mom has to go to the U.S. Embassy to do a visa interview is beyond me, right? I think we live in a remote Zoom world, and having in-person interviews in a paper system in a remote world um, just demonstrates to visa applicants just how backwards we are and how little we care even about our immigrants, right? The fact that we're not willing to invest in technology and not willing to move forward and progress into the 21st century on this stuff really is a demonstration of how little we care about immigration. And so, one, we really need to hone in on using remote interviews if we have to have interviews at all, waiving much larger classes of visas, and really focusing, or even like within countries, having officers, travel remotely around the country to issue visas. Really investing in domestic visa renewal, so people don't have to go back out of their home country, leave the United States to renew their visa. Have them renew their visa here in this country. And so I don't think that there's one solution. I don't think that there's like one immigration plan. What we need is an immigration strategy, and that strategy built around how do we harness the technology of today to ensure that we are building the fruits and being able to establish the seeds that'll, progress for tomorrow.
Yeah, and Chris, one thing you mentioned that I wanted to follow up on, because I imagine there are a lot of folks in our audience who aren't aware of this, but you mentioned that U.S. State Department, the consular division, is completely fee funded, right?
Hmm.
So unlike the Department of Defense, where the taxpayers pay the bill, the expenses for them, and Congress allocates them the money, the
Hmm.
State Department is almost entirely funded from fees for immigration
Right.
applications.
Right.
And it sounds like what you're saying is that there's maybe ways, in order to improve these visa processing times, there are ways that the State Department could modernize, in a
Right.
sense, to cut back on administrative costs. And yeah.
Right. Or even looking at, so within the State Department, there's lots and lots of different types of departments, and even among, so there's five cones, really, five cones that are at the top of the State Department: consular, which does the visas and American citizen services; political, public diplomacy, economics; and management, the people who manage the embassy, right? So four of those cones actually answer directly to the State Secretary of State. Consular doesn't even answer to the Secretary of State. They're below that, right? They're on board with like the Bureau of Oceanography or something at the State Department. And to me, it's crazy that something as important and critical and vital to U.S. diplomacy as the security of American citizens and our visa operations doesn't actually even answer to the Secretary of State. And so that also demonstrates just how little care we have about our visa policy, that our visa policy isn't something the Secretary of State has to actually talk to someone directly about. And so what I would do is I would actually, I'm shocked that no congressperson has thought about this. They need to write a bill to make consular directly answer to the Secretary of State, because that'll elevate its importance within the State Department, and the State Department itself will, I think, then will take it a lot more seriously. But if it's like a third or fourth, and consular likes it that way, I think. I think consular likes the fact that they don't have to answer to the secretary, and that they are like a little bit further down the totem pole, because they don't have to answer these questions. But if you have it at the secretary level, or making them answer directly to the Secretary of State, that the person who's in charge of consular, it becomes a whole different ballgame within the State Department in terms of where the priorities lie for it.
Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in to Immigration and Mobility Decoded. If you watched this video on YouTube and you enjoyed it, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to the Envoy Global YouTube channel for more content like this. Otherwise, please follow us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks, everyone.